Hello, everybody. This is Peter Dahlgren. We're building the Mears Models F-86. A lot of you guys have seen a lot of my progress on this particular jet. I think right now we're going to show you what exactly happens when you get to the point where you can remove this thing from the jig. And it's actually kind of a really cool deal because we just gained a lot of real estate in a very small shop. And this is why I build these big airplanes like this, because they are awesome. I mean, the one thing is that when you building the you actually start building a wet airplane that really starts to take shape, and then you actually take it apart and show what the components look like. It's actually pretty amazing. Now we're just going to go ahead and go in here. I'm going to show you what it looks like apart. I mean, it's huge, and yes, I do play drums, of course, other things and whatever. But this is the guys you want to be talking to, and this is www.nsmodelers.rs, and it's Mears Models. And I want to show you guys what happens. You guys have been watching what has happened with a very small desk, a plank, and everything else that went along with this to build this 9-foot long jet. And it took up a lot of real estate. It took up the entire front of the fireplace and everything over here. And this is our rec room. And basically, it's not very big. It's used for a lot of different things down here. We store everything down here. But this has been my primary building site for everything I've done on this airplane. Now, I think one of the biggest things that a lot of guys seen is that everything you saw was being built on that jig. This thing is perfectly straight, but there comes a point to where having smaller sections and being able to move them around easier becomes an absolute necessity to do. So I built this as a 2-piece fuselage, and it bolts up beautifully. It's strong. It's extremely strong, unbelievably. So I want you to see now all these steps that were built on the jig and why I built them and sheeted them to a certain area with all the details and all the other stuff I've actually built in this airplane. I want you guys to actually see what those steps actually in fact are. This plane comes apart in 7 pieces when it's built. And if you do that, if you have a 1-piece fuselage, it's going to be very, very, very long. But if you have a small area, don't be afraid to go out there and build this airplane, because once you get it to this point, you can take it apart. And guys, this thing just gave me all this winter here now. We use the fireplace for heat. This had to happen. So basically, what this does in order to sheet the bottom, what I had to have was everything kind of set down so I could get to it and do it. And then now that this is done, I can start this process with one sheet all the way down to here, and I can actually start planking these areas in. And this becomes a very fast, very quick done deal. And this gives you an area where you can actually come in, put your spacers, whatever you got to do, and get it. Now, I want to make sure you guys understand that when you do all these little pieces here are my gluing areas, and this is what I'm using to get everything else kind of treed up and done. But I do have some more sanding to get all these done and get those all treed up, and it's going to take a little bit of work to do this because you couldn't really see it when it was still on the jig. And of course all these nibs and everything have to be done. So I think one of the biggest thing is to kind of come back and slow down the speed up and get all this stuff pretty much in a deal. Now, as I've said, I'm considering an FJ2, and if I do, I've got to put a tail hook in here. And so if I do that, I need to put in another piece of plywood blocking. I need to drill it and put some nuts in there and actually make that so it's removable. And in order to do that, I'm going to have to put an access hatch or 2 in there. So we'll see where we're at on it here within the next next week or two, but it should be pretty decent. So anyway, I'm going to say bye for now. And if there's any comments or anything on this will be fine. And we'll go live again next week. And this will be so that we can actually go through and show even more of the progress on that. But before we go, I'm going to flip over the nose, the front section where all the guts go. And I want to show you just how nice this two-piece fuselage really is, because with the two-piece fuselage, all these parts, including the engine mounting and all that stuff that goes in there, just became that much better. And I got a lot of cleanup to do in the shop. This has been the start of a very long build. You can see the landing gear block and where all that's going to bolt to and everything. And it's going to be neat. And this is going to make it easier. And this is why I left the solid. There's nothing to get in here and cut that out. But we got to add in things for gear doors. We got a lot of things to add in here. And we're going to start doing that. Now, I've already fixed the canopy issue that I had with it. And it was kind of one of them deals where I just redid it. So I did that before I took it off the jig. Now I can come back in here and I can add the blocks and everything else there and get this nose to look right and get some sanding done and little things, not items that need to be done. And she's going to be awesome. It's very neat, very unique situation with these jets. And I had, from the first time of it sitting on the floor when it's on its gear, guys, this thing is just going to be an absolute monster. So I'll be able to set this on its gear when it's there and there. The neat thing about it is now that that's in, mounting the engine is absolutely no issue at all. You can reach right in there. You can set it up and set it up beautifully. So anyway, guys, this is where I'm at with it. And I mean, it looks tiny now, but it's actually cool because now I can set it up there on a pillow or whatever I got to do. And I can just sit down and build to my heart's content. It's a little tiny, it's like building several little kits. It's actually really cool once this goes. You're building an airplane from the nose all the way to the tail. And then you're winding up with two little ones. I mean, it's really actually really cool. You're not having to walk around it and this and that. And guys, it only weighs about 6 pounds at this point. And the wings are next, and we got a lot of little things that are going. So she's 9 foot long and she's a beast. But when it's missing half of its tail and all that, guys, it looks really actually pretty cool. So anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the funny papers.